This is the NSPN Prep Update, a weekly look at scores, highlights, and stories from across the state. We go to the NSPN studios. Here's your host, Ryan Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the NSPN Prep Update for November 24th. It's Thanksgiving week and we are stuffed with state championship football highlights. Girls hockey is well underway, plus boys hockey and girls basketball have started up. We'll catch a glimpse of some of the top teams early this season. Justin Barrientos is here with another great feature, wrapping up girls swimming and diving with a nod to one of the best. And our school snapshot this week takes us west to a high school right next to a college campus. But we start on the gridiron and Prep Bowl 43. We had 7 games in all this past weekend at US Bank Stadium. We start in Class 1A, Minnesota versus Breckenridge, the first Prep Bowl championship of 2025. Breckenridge strikes first, late in the first quarter, when Riley Kappas, under pressure, looks for Cooper Roberts in the end zone, and he outleaps the coverage for the score. Minnesota would tie it up, then reach in their bag of tricks for this play. Tristan Susner hands off to Easton Johnston, then to Joey Lasik, back to Susner, who sees a wide-open Landon Esping for the touchdown. That play would continue a huge offensive run for the Vikings. Late in the third quarter, Susner hands off to Kellen Bradley for the 25-yard touchdown, and that is 49 straight points for Minnesota, who would go on to win 49-14. That's 4 consecutive Class 1A titles for the Vikings, the 11th overall state championship, and 46 wins in a row. 380 yards of total offense, 268 on the ground, and 4 picks on defense. Skol Vikings indeed. Next was Orono versus Casson Manorville. Orono already up by 14 in Class 4A. They get another score before the half. Griffin Maurer on the keeper sprints 12 yards for the touchdown. However, the game isn't over until there are zeros on the scoreboard, a lesson learned many times this championship season. Casson Manorville would stay in this game as Parker Richards makes it a one-score game with a 1-yard touchdown run. KM on the move in Orono territory, but Grady Babcock's 4th down pass for Kimoni Bent is just long and also out of reach of Jeremiah Peterson-Gordon. Orono holds on for the 21-14 win to capture their first Prep Bowl win in school history. Class 2A, Jackson County Central versus Goodhue. This is one of those games that had to be seen to be believed, because the box score doesn't do it justice. Roman Voss with a complete pass to Gage Johnson, but he fumbles, and that was the 6th turnover of the game for JCC. The score doesn't reflect that, but the Huskies were stout on defense. Case in point, on 4th and 16, Goodhue trying to take advantage of the mistakes, but Evan Bartholomew's on coverage on the incompletion. Goodhue would take a brief lead in the game, but the Huskies had just enough Roman Voss to get the win. He scores the game winner on a 2-yard QB keeper. In reality, Voss left everything on the field as he was gassed at the end, playing both offense and defense, rushing for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. Voss had 3 tackles and 2 pass breakups as JCC wins their 2nd consecutive Prep Bowl, 20-15 over Goodhue. We wrapped up Friday night in Class 6A, Edina versus Moorhead, and one of the more intriguing matchups in the Prep Bowl, and it lived up to the hype. Jet Feeney scores on a 4-yard QB keeper in the 4th quarter, and the extra point would give the Spuds their 3rd lead of the game. Edina, though, had their own all-purpose weapon in Chase Bjorgard, the hockey goalie, baseball outfielder, and football touchdown machine, spun through tackles on his way to a 59-yard run to take the lead back for Edina. Later in the 4th quarter, Bjorgard again, this time 24 yards to the house, and when you put on a performance like that, you can count your money when it's sitting at the table. 6 total touchdowns, 320 rushing yards, 351 all-purpose yards, helped to lift Edina to their first ever Prep Bowl title, not counting their Edina West championship in 1978. That's 3 state team titles for the Hornets this fall: football, boys soccer, and girls swimming, putting the 213th candle on their school team championship cake. We go from the biggest to the smallest. The 9-player championship kicked things off as the first game on Saturday, featuring 2 teams each looking for their first title in decades. Hills Beaver Creek versus Hillcrest Lutheran. Hills Beaver Creek setting the tone early. Jamin Metzger throws into triple coverage but finds Micah Bush, who then seemingly evades the rest of the Comet defense on his way to a 34-yard touchdown. That would put HBC up 16-0. Ethan Swedberg would try to keep the Comets in the same orbit as he calls his own number for the 4-yard touchdown run. A 2-point conversion would put the score to 24-8. In the end, though, it was too much Metzger. Jamin Metzger with a 5-yard run for the final score of the game, and Hills Beaver Creek wins 46-22. Jamin Metzger 16 of 18 for 238 yards and 2 TDs in the air, 43 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, add in 126 rushing yards and 2 TDs for Brody Metzger, who also had 8 catches for 99 yards and another score. Hills Beaver Creek gets their second state championship and their first since 1990. Next is Annandale versus Waseca. Points were at a premium in the Class 3A championship. In fact, it was a scoreless first quarter. We'd see more offense in the second. Mike Koval might not have had an easier target as Gabe Westman broke free for a 25-yard TD pass to put the Cardinals in the lead 7-0. Annandale would add a field goal before Waseca got on the board. Kellen Klinger would run in for a 1-yard score to start the scoring in the second half and give Waseca something to cheer for. The Cardinals would save the best for the last score of the game. Braylon Fabi under center this time, throws to the far side for Colton Purcell, who then throws to Westman, again wide open on the trick play. 62-yard double pass puts Annandale up 17-7. It was a defensive battle after that. 4 total interceptions for the Cardinal defense, who helped Annandale to their first Prep Bowl win in school history. Just 276 yards of total offense in the game for Annandale, but all that came at the right time as Annandale caps off a 13-0 season with the 17-7 win. Our final championship was in 5A, Spring Lake Park versus Chanhassen. We picked this one up with Spring Lake Park leading 14-7. Chanhassen on the move. Nathan Rambler waiting in the pocket as Cade Bush gets open for a 16-yard score that would tie the game at 14. Unfortunately for the Storm, that's as close as they would get. Nolan Roach would hit Caden Conkler in stride for a 38-yard score. That would put the Panthers in the lead 21-14. They would add a field goal for insurance, their only scoring in the second half, but would rely on their defense the rest of the way. After one 4th down stop of the Storm, there was too much time left on the clock, and Chanhassen got another chance. But again on 4th down, Rambler throws the interception to Cade Skelly, and the Panther fans could finally breathe a sigh of relief and begin the celebration. It's the second state title for the Panthers, who won it all in their first trip to the Prep Bowl in 1991. A perfect 13-0 season for Spring Lake Park, who were 4-6 just a year ago. Coming up later on the Prep Update, our school snapshot will introduce us to some Cowboys. Plus, Justin Barrientos visits with a record-breaking swimmer. And speaking of records, it's trivia time. Who holds the record for the most career points in Minnesota high school hockey history? I'm looking for 2, both boys and girls. The answer, plus hockey highlights when we return.
New journey.
Division 3 straight to Division 1.
New energy. Same standard.
The Tommies have climbed to the peak of the summit.
And your Pioneer Football League champions wear purple and gray.
No limits. Welcome to St. Thomas Athletics.
Support your teams and community with NSPN.TV. Enjoy exclusive coverage from Summer Town Ball to high school championships. Plus, feature stories and podcasts that bring you closer to the action. Stay connected with NSPN.TV, your neighborhood sports network.
Welcome back to the NSPN Prep Update. I'm Ryan Phelps. Your trivia question was, who holds the record for the most career points in Minnesota high school hockey history? The answer? Dave Spihar and Natalie Darwitz. Spihar, the boys' leader, tallied 263 points from 1992 to 95, and that includes 3 straight hat tricks during the 95 tourney. Darwitz, one of our former colleagues here at NSPN, she had a whopping 468 points from 97 through 2000. Noelle Simonette of Minnesota River has a ways to go to catch Darwitz, but she's off to a nice start this season with 12 points through 5 games as the Bulldogs look to improve on last year's early playoff exit. Minnesota River versus New Prague. Second period action, Minnesota River clearly in control, gains possession off the face-off. McKenna Andreessen behind the net, passes back to Noelle Simonette, who threads a pass to Macy Portner for the goal. Simonette had a hat trick in the 8-0 win. Maple Grove versus Benilde St. Margaret's. Tied at 1 in the third. Benilde can't get the puck out of the attack zone. Instead, picked up by Hadley Baker at the blue line, and she hits the back of the net for the goal. Game winner, Crimson prevail 2-1. Eden Prairie versus Hill Murray. Pioneers looking to add to their second period lead. Emily Pohl near side. Passes cross ice to Hannah Rickley, who misfires initially but recovers nicely to earn the goal. Pioneers win 5-2. Proctor Hermantown versus Orono. Tied in the third period with the puck trapped along the boards. Elikovs comes away with it and feeds Sarah Stauber at the point. The senior gets her first career goal, a game winner, as Proctor Hermantown wins 3-1. Blake versus Blaine. Scoreless with time winding down in the first period. Mackenzie Williams picks up the puck at center ice and gets past the stick sweep of McKenna Jacobson to score the only goal of the game. Blake wins 1-0 for their fourth win of this young season. Wayzata versus Fergus Falls. Wayzata up big in the third period. Otters trying to clear, but Noelle Noble will pick up the puck in the neutral zone and weave her way into a backhand opportunity. It's a hat trick for Noble and an 8-4 win for the Trojans. Boys hockey started up their season this week with a few non-conference matchups with some tournament hopefuls. Hibbing Chisholm versus Cretin Durham Hall. Hibbing holding on to a 1-goal lead, fends off a Raider advantage attack as the puck floats to neutral ice. Tate Swanson taps in the empty netter, and Isaiah Hildenbrand would add another as the Blue Jackets go on to win 6-3. St. Cloud Cathedral versus Warroad. Tied at 1 in the second, Casey Hendrickson wins the faceoff. Sam Hard to Wyatt Samuelson, and Ryan Lee fires to the net for the tic-tac-toe goal. Warroad wins 6-2, their first win of the season. It was a magical season for the Monticello girls swimming and diving team. Individual records and a team championship capped off a banner year. Justin Barrientos visits with the head magician.
The 2025 Minnesota State High School League Swimming and Diving Championships were expected to be memorable for Monticello junior Adeline Beegler. She set state records last year, and all eyes were on her this year to see what she could accomplish. All she did was capture 2 solo state titles, 2 with relay teams, set 2 state records, and help Monticello to their first ever team state championship.
I'm just so excited. I've been crying like all night, but I don't know, so many emotions, so excited.
The first state record Beegler set was her first race of the day, the 200 freestyle, which she won by 3 seconds, breaking her own Class A record and the Minnesota all-time record by 0.4 of a second.
I was so happy. That was my happiest race today, and I'm just really proud of myself that I was the 146. That was my goal. So.
The second record broken, amazingly, came in the last race of the day, which helped her 400 free relay team to a state title and the overall Monticello team to their first state championship. She again broke her own record, swimming her 100 free leg in 49.17 seconds, 3/100ths of a second faster than her time last year. Beegler still has a senior year at Monticello to look forward to, and one more year with her mom as her head coach.
I've already been starting to think about it. I'm so excited and so pumped for it. I love her as my coach. We just have a really good connection, and it's just really special.
At the Gene K. Freeman Aquatic Center on the campus of the University of Minnesota, Justin Barrientos, NSPN.TV.
There's still one more segment left on the Prep Update. When we return, girls basketball highlights. Plus, we head to the North Dakota border for this week's School Snapshot.
There's a new destination for all things Minnesota high school sports. It's called Strib Varsity. It's from the Minnesota Star Tribune, so you know it's trusted. with a deep bench to cover all of Minnesota. We've rebuilt and relaunched our MM Prep hubs and added more sports, stories, streams, stats, scores, schedules. We have it all at Strip Varsity. Subscribe today at StarTribune.com/StripVarsity.
We are heading into Thanksgiving week, which means girls basketball is officially underway. It's early, but some sharpshooters are already heating up. Monticello versus Benilde St. Margaret's. Red Knights keeping the pressure on Monticello in the second half. Good ball movement, looking for an open shot, and they find it with Presley Watkins, who drains a deep three-pointer. BSM wins 79-53. Red Wing versus Stewartville. Tigers up by 9 in the first half, show off their passing skills, trying to get Red Wing off their defense. It worked, as Sadie Romans was left open for the three-pointer. Stewartville wins 68-57. Forest Lake versus Anoka. Good possession in the second half. Rangers in control when Haley DeLue on the baseline swings the ball back to the top and Kendall Damons hits the open look three. Rangers cruise to a 58-40 win over Anoka. It's time for our school snapshot. That's when we get to know the towns, schools, and communities outside the playing field. Today, we visit a football finalist. Breckenridge, out on the plains. The city sits on the border with Wahpeton, North Dakota, an hour south of Fargo and about 200 miles northwest of Minneapolis. That geography has a benefit for its 227 students, with its proximity to North Dakota State College of Science. Principal, Karina Erickson.
Our partnership with NDSCS, but is one of our definitely talking pride points for Breckenridge School. Our students have the opportunity to attend hands-on learning and take college courses over there. We also have a strong CNA program that continues, and it provides opportunities for our students to get their certified nursing licensing completed.
It's an old school. The district dates back to 1872, but they have new school thinking with their entrepreneurship course where students meet off campus with local business leaders where they create their own business plan to pursue. For those seeking higher education, they have you covered. They have college courses on campus for a jump start at the next level. Ag and FFA are important to the school and the community. They help each other in town and in the classroom.
Something called our Lasso Center. It's a learning and student support center for students that also has classes, you could call them that, such as esports. We have some cooking classes going on, but we also have tutors and academic support people in there. So if students need help with homework or a class, or they need to retake a test and they don't have the opportunity during the school day to do that, they are able to go to the Lasso Center.
Nobody is left behind as they take pride in all of their students, their school, and their town. And they have a name for it.
Breckenridge Pride, Inspiring to Excel is our current motto, and students often know that and you hear that.
The calendar has flipped with the winter season now in full swing. Here are some of the many games coming up this week right here on NSPN.TV. A big night on Tuesday, starting with a hockey doubleheader. For the girls, Wayzata at Benilde St. Margaret's, followed by the boys, Gentry Academy at BSM. Some girls hoops as well on Tuesday. Rosemount visits Woodbury. On Friday, more grade boys hockey action as Hermantown travels to Cretin-Durham Hall. And girls basketball on Saturday, Hill Murray versus Delano. That'll do it for this episode of the NSPN Prep Update. We'll be back with more next week. For Hannah, JB, and the rest of the NSPN crew, I'm Ryan Phelps saying Happy Thanksgiving and so long from the Neighborhood Sports Network.